Integrity is an internal type of quality. It's something that you hold inside you in your mind, but those values have to be upheld through external action by speaking out about what you believe in. So taking active steps to support causes that you believe are right is one of the core values in my mind of integrity. It's a really big demonstration of integrity to be transparent and honest about what you believe in because there's a lot of eyes on you. There's a lot of people that are listening to you. And so, really speaking out about what you think is right could even inspire somebody else to speak up about their moral values or to kind of support what you believe is right and those kinds of things. I went to this convention called RILA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, when I was a sophomore in high school. And it inspired me so deeply just seeing the kind of impact that we were able to have. This year, we finally got it up and running. And it has been so fulfilling seeing all of these kids who just joined Interact, maybe thinking it was just a fun thing, become leaders in our community and have that impact. I have a huge passion for helping people in life. And I also have a passion for movement. And so the career that I've been set on for a few years is physical therapy. And integrity is pretty much built into the job, like in a lot of the ethical guidelines. Integrity is the quality that is going to foster the most amount of trust between me and my patients. Um, I really want them to be able to progress through their recovery journey, like knowing that they can trust me and knowing that I'm going to be honest with them.
I believe by choosing myself, I'm demonstrating integrity because I believe in myself and I'm standing up for myself and my values. And I can't be helpful to other people if I'm not taking care of myself first. And if I believe in something so strongly, that'll shine through if I take care of myself. I love working with the disabled community, and a lot of times they can't stick up for themselves. And so if someone is saying something or doing something and they might not understand that that's not okay or have the ability to say, stop, that's not okay, advocating for other people and making sure other people feel safe and loved in a space is very important to me. This year, I'm president of Best Buddies. And so being able to make our school more welcoming and inclusive and just work towards that end goal of everyone being treated the same and accepted has meant so much to me. We do a lot of lessons on patience, on how to direct different situations or redirect a situation. Since I want to do pediatrics, kids can be a little wild. I work at a daycare, kids can be a little wild. And so just learning how to kind of bring things back to the center. And also, everyone learns differently. And so just really catering to each person and learning each person. That's what I've taken away from Best Buddies is just learn from everybody you can. I personally want to be a pediatric occupational therapist and I want to work with the disabled community. And that's something that I believe very strongly in is that everyone deserves a chance no matter your ability or who you are. And so sticking by that for the rest of my life, I feel is very important because that'll get me the furthest that I can go.
Growing up, playing junior tennis, it's really tough with travel. You spent so much time and money putting into it, so the results can feel as you're playing a match, the result can feel very important, like super a lot of pressure to win, obviously. It was a big thing growing up. A lot of kids, at important points, important times in the match, they make bad line calls, they start cheating. But I made sure to make sure I never do that, never cheat, stay honest to myself. And it just helps me immensely, helps me sleep at night, like just doing the right thing. And I think it's really important on how I am as a person, just doing the right thing, not because I have to, but to be honest and be true to myself. Yeah, so I plan to study finance at Swan University. Obviously, in the field of finance, integrity is a huge part of that. You're handling people's monies, or you're handling their money all the time, so you have to be super responsible and super trustworthy. And acting with integrity can obviously help you build relationships, and build trust with your um, clients and your coworkers. So I think that's really important in the field of finance.
Using your voice and advocating for what you believe in is a really important part of integrity because you'll never be heard if you stay silent. And staying silent doesn't make a difference, and it also doesn't encourage others to stand up for what they believe in either. Without sounding rude, you can tell that he didn't have the best home life, that he didn't really have everything he needed. And we were planning to go on a big trip with the robotics team, and he didn't have the same things as everybody else. And I wanted him to be able to feel like he fit in. I wanted to make sure that he didn't feel uncomfortable because nobody likes to feel excluded or less than. And my mom, I see her demonstrate integrity because she stands up for herself and she stands up for what she believes in. And she also supports and encourages other people to do the same thing. Still undecided on what I want to do, but I'm interested in pursuing a career in healthcare, either occupational therapy or dentistry. Integrity relates in any healthcare career, really, because it provides a sense of trust with coworkers and patients who might be in like a vulnerable situation.
I personally had an experience where I was not uh, honest to the people around me, and therefore I wasn't honest to myself. And that made me feel like I lacked integrity. And then as I went forward and I discovered how being honest to those around me made me feel more honest to myself, I I changed my ways and have felt like I've become much more of an integrous person. One of the best ways I learned from that experience to maybe more to have a more open mindset as well as to lack that sort of abrasiveness in these sort of debates. Some of my career goals are to eventually work in the public policy sector or in a regulatory agency. Um, Hopefully, working in something to do with Appalachia, as growing up with the opioid epidemic and systemic abuse around me, seeing the failures in our system that led to that happen has sort of made me entrenched in the idea that I want to make sure that something like this, something on this scale, can never happen again, or at least be preventable.
Using your voice and advocating for the causes you believe in really shows integrity, because it shows that not only are you willing to have a different belief, you're willing to stand up for it and really prove it. And sometimes speaking up, people are going to be like, why are you doing that? That isn't right. But the willingness that you have to keep standing up for those people, especially those people who like don't even have a voice, that shows so much integrity, because it shows you're willing to put yourself out there and make yourself seen for representing something else, even if it's not popular. I really had to decide, like, am I going to stay in this flow of like, we're not going to reach out to people, we're not going to run a show, but this is what God's been telling me to do. So I was like, no, God's going to make a way. So I went and it all worked out, like found another venue. I was like, there's no need to stop this. Like, there's so many people that need to hear this story and need to see it, and like kids that need to be in it. And it was just such a beautiful way to share the Christmas story too. And I was like, if I would have compromised to other people's beliefs, I would have never been able to see that happen. Integrity really impacts my future, because my future career goal is to run my own children's theater, and I really believe that every kid deserves a chance to experience the magic of theater, like no matter their circumstance, no matter how much money they make. So even when I run camps now, I try to make it as affordable as possible, and just the fact that everyone deserves the chance to have the same opportunities.
So speaking up to me, of course, was instilled through my parents. So my parents have always told me, especially, for example, if a new student comes to my school, they always want me to be the first one to greet them and, lead them around and become friends with them, of course, and help them make new friends. And so I would say my parents have instilled that in me. I wrote about this in my essay. It was about a teammate that was being excluded for having special needs. People would talk about him negatively and just really just exclude him from the team. And so it made me uncomfortable and it made him uncomfortable. And so I decided to stand up for him and make sure he was included in team dinners and just included as a teammate. I have a school group. It's called Friends for Life. It's a special needs group where we hang out with students that have special needs. And so a way that I like to advocate for that is I always like to talk nicely about them, and I try to volunteer, or not volunteer, but I try to recruit people to help volunteer and, help the cause. I want to pursue a bachelor's degree in finance and become a financial advisor. And so integrity is hand in hand with this, because it's important that my clients can trust me because they're investing their money into me. And so I have to make the right financial decisions for them.
I believe that, using your voice and acting on things that are important and follow your moral code is really the ultimate act of integrity, because you can have that moral code and you can have those beliefs, but if you're not acting on them, are they really your beliefs? And that's just something that is important, is when you have the chance is to make the change, take your voice and use it so that you can actually help others, help make things actually happen that are following your beliefs. It's really impacted my life so far, again, with that service aspect, where it's just led me to do things I wouldn't normally do just because I feel like I should do them for my personal beliefs. And so that kind of comes with serving my community, participating in things that are just things that I feel like I should be doing, not what is asked of me. And I think that's going to carry into my future with playing roles in my personal communities and communities that are expected of me, is doing things that I believe are right no matter what the situation is. So one of my goals I think that really intersects with integrity is I want to pursue law in the future. And I think that's definitely something where having a really strong moral compass is a very important part of that field. So I think that using those aspects of integrity and that moral compass is really going to help me in the future with becoming a lawyer.
So I want to become an engineer, and I know it's a hard field to go into. I ultimately want to do cancer research, and because my sister's cancer osteosarcoma it's a pretty rare case and not much research is taking on it. Being able to possibly do that in the future, I think working hard towards it behind the scenes and just keeping true to my values and just pushing forward no matter what others think, even if they think it's hard and I should do something different. I really want to be an engineer and help others who were like my sister with cancer. It was a hard decision because basketball was like the first sport I really loved to play. But I knew to keep my sister safe, I needed to stop playing so I didn't get like COVID, because she was very susceptible to that type of disease. So I ultimately decided to stop playing basketball just for her health and to be with her more and to help her along the way, because I care about her a lot and she's a very good role model to me. Just making that decision, like to step away from my friends and choose my sister, I knew was the right choice. Whereas other people may have thought it wasn't. I just knew that's what I had to do and to be there with my sister at that time. Others may think that it's not the right choice and they may go to like do fun things, but I like to stick to my goals and like keep striving for those so I can get to my future ultimate goal, whatever that may be.
Someone that embodies integrity in my life is my mother. So since growing up, my mother has been she has embodied integrity a lot because she has always put my siblings and I before her, and she has given up several things. So she immigrated to this country without knowing English, without knowing anything, without having any contacts. Ever since that, she has just put my siblings and I before her and before her goals and anything, because she had to sacrifice so many things to do that for us. Growing up, my parents depended on me to help translate like legal paperwork, medical documents, and like I had to be there during conversations when they couldn't handle it. There were times when I didn't feel ready to handle these situations, but I knew I had to because my family needed me. As I go into nursing, integrity will be one of the most fundamental and most important things that I will have to have, because people will be trusting me with their health and they will just need me to trust them there. So I need to be someone that people can feel safe with, and I feel like integrity is the core value there. So I plan to obtain my bachelor's of science in nursing at the University of Virginia. And then after that, I plan to work at an intensive care unit for like 2 years. And then I plan to go back to school and become a nurse anesthetist for like 3 years.
I've only ever lived in this part of Virginia and this part of the country. So it was definitely a very unique experience seeing some place that is not like that. Like a few years ago, I went on vacation with my mom and my grandparents, and we went to France for about a week, and that was really cool. But it really kind of helped me reshape how I think about the world, because obviously, Roanoke, Virginia, and Paris are very different places. But just seeing how different cultures are and how different people live, it's helped me kind of really reshape how I think about people and how they live their lives, and it's really helped me become more open-minded to other points of view that are different from mine. How I originally approached these conversations was not as open-minded. I kind of assumed that everybody shared my life experience in a way of, oh, like they should think this because I think this, and I have, the difference of, again, life experience to back up, what I believe or how I believe it. But I think kind of holding myself accountable and saying like, hey, this is not great. This is not like good ethics. You are not relating to people in the way you think you are. And just holding myself to that higher standard of I need to be consistently approachable and reliable in these kind of environments. I want to go into journalism and specifically scientific journalism as a postgraduate college career field. And holding myself accountable with how I write and what I write and how I portray the truth, especially in a world right now that is so divisive and so kind of all over the place, especially with media and its ethics, is really important to me, and just kind of helping people educate themselves in a transparent way so that they're not being misled into something that is false.
I was definitely called to make that decision to like stand by my friend's bill again, sort of because I knew since I was running for a representative position, it's really important for leaders in any setting to have integrity and to really stand by what they say. And if I was going to be running for an elected position, it didn't really matter if I was the most popular, if I wasn't going to be the best leader. So maintaining integrity and voting along or working to support my friend's bill, which I earnestly did support, was really important to make sure that I could actually be the best leader that I could potentially be. With the outcome of how it turned out, I was infinitely happier to be a person who stands by myself, who didn't like win by cheating or using like facetious methods, than I would have been winning having be like a bad leader with bad values who's not, or with, I guess, a bad sense of integrity who's not actually standing up for what they believe in. A lot of the time, whenever you have really any position, you're going to face pushback. And if you're not prepared to have integrity and then maintain your positions whenever you're actually sort of advocating for things, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to immediately crumble, or you're not going to get anything done because you're constantly just going to be going against what you actually are trying to strive to create.